Waller and Harris counties are searching for some thieves who broke into a sheriff's vehicle and stole 8 guns. The sheriff's truck and a Waller County commissioner's truck were broken into at a Saltgrass Steakhouse Saturday off the Katy Freeway. Thieves got away with 8 guns, including this, a fully automatic submachine gun that they left in the truck. This is one from the manufacturer's website. The gun is highly regulated by the ATF, and it's banned in some states altogether. It was legal because it was county-owned and for law enforcement use, but they left them in their truck, and now they were stolen.
All right, get it.
The Waller County Sheriff puts evidence into a property room. Turns out no one knows if everything that's supposed to be there actually is. We've learned the Waller County Sheriff has no record showing the evidence in the property room has ever been audited under his watch. We also know Waller County has no record showing there's ever been an audit of the inventory of tens of thousands of dollars worth of weapons bought by the sheriff and his associates in the last 4 years. This is pretty simple stuff, and the fact that no one's auditing this evidence or the weapons is a big failure of more than one public official. Taxpayers in Waller County, they should be outraged. We've been examining the paper trail ever since the sheriff had that submachine gun and a bunch of other weapons stolen from his truck. We've documented discrepancies in the record since then. The auditor in Waller County doesn't seem to have a clue what weapons the sheriff's office has. The sheriff buys more weapons, even though their own records show a lot of the guns aren't even assigned. The sheriff's office trades weapons for more expensive ones, but no one keeps total track of where all those guns went. Now we know the paper trail raises serious questions about the use of taxpayer money, including the forfeiture and narcotics funds used by the Waller County Sheriff's Office. So we followed the trail. That's what we do. Every year, the sheriff asks county commissioners to approve spending of narcotics funds through what's called the imprest fund. The fund is quickly being depleted, in part because of all those weapons they're buying. But there may be a bigger problem. The sheriff's discretionary funds always include money for undercover narcotics operations, including buy money. So we asked for all the documents detailing the spending from those accounts, and there are no documents detailing any use of buy money. So did they or didn't they? Quite frankly, the public deserves answers, Sheriff, and your silence on this issue is deafening.
All right, let me read this out, and then we can go from there. Discuss and take action for the Waller County Commissioners Court to direct the County Auditor, Alan Younts, to conduct a thorough audit of the inventory and whereabouts of all weapons bought or maintained by the Waller County Sheriff's Office, to include a review of all weapons transfers. This audit should include recommendations for procedural changes to monitor the transfer or sale of any assets of Waller County. The audit should also include the property room of the Waller County Sheriff's Office. The Commissioners Court also directs the County Auditor to reconcile the expenditures of the Sheriff's discretionary funds, including the forfeiture and imprest funds, against the budget approved by Commissioners Court during each of the last 3 years, and expenditures as detailed by the Waller County Sheriff's Office. Commissioner?
Second.
All right, I have a motion second. All right. Did you want to talk about your...
Yes, I'd like to make a statement and have some comments after this. Over the last several weeks, I've become increasingly concerned that the Waller County has simply lost track of assets of the Sheriff's Office, specifically weapons. I have seen that the County Auditor's records of weapons in the Sheriff's Office is very different than the inventory kept by the Sheriff. In addition, there are records detailing trades of weapons for other weapons that the Auditor has not been notified of. I have heard reports, or seen reports in the newspaper Berkshire Times Tribune, that there are receipts for weapons that cannot be located in the inventory. I also see in these reports that the Sheriff's Office is buying more weapons when their inventory shows many of the weapons already unassigned. I move the Auditor should also review the imprest funds to ensure the expenditures have been made in accordance with the budgets presented to Waller County. I am most interested in ensure monies earmarked for narcotics operations have been spent as advertised. Furthermore, I'd like to ask our auditor, Mr. Younts, in your auditing, can you recognize a Class 3 weapon?
Well, first of all, Commissioner, I'm not sure you're aware of this. I don't say this from a position of power. The Commissioner's Court can't direct me to do any audits. Are you aware of that?
No, no.
Okay. So we'll just begin there. Okay. We periodically do audits of every department, and we're going to do the same for the Sheriff's Department. Before all this happened, our staff has already talked about when we're going to be available to get back to the Sheriff's Department to do a routine audit. We don't audit weapons. I wouldn't know what one weapon. I've got weapons, but I don't even want to go into that. But the fact is, we're not going to be doing any auditing of weapons. We're going to be doing audits of his records like we always do. We're an independent office, and we audit all the offices, and we have scheduled. We have not met with the sheriff. In fact, he's asked for us to come do an audit of the weapons. We're going to do periodic audits. We're going to go over there and audit the Sheriff's Department, just like we were scheduled to do.
Yeah, a person asked me why he did this, put this on the agenda. And there's not a day goes by since December 5, 2015, that I don't think about what happened at Saltgrass Steakhouse. About 103 people were there for a luncheon, and all the commissioners and the judge was there. If somebody, that machine gun was stolen out of the sheriff's truck. During the times we lived, somebody could have taken that thing into the Saltgrass and killed us all. I take that very seriously. But since I put this into motion, I got an information request, I think, from the sheriff's office requesting my computer, which is right here, and also me purchasing some chairs for my office to sit on. And so here are the receipts. If you'd like to take these and analyze them. And there might be more on the request. I was trying to print it out, but my printer broke, so I'm asking Greg to get his, when he has available time, to come out and fix it. So if there's anything else needed in the information report,
Discuss those.
thank you, sir. Did you attend that luncheon?
No, I did not.
I did. And I'm still thinking about that daily. That bothers me.
Joe, you have something?
I just have a question. I can certainly respect the independence requirement that with having an auditor. I mean, been in business for 45 years, so I have to do something about those things. I just wonder when's the last time you had audited.
Talking about the weapons?
Weapons of the sheriff.
No, I don't believe the records that I can find. I know since 2011 that I have not audited weapons. I don't believe it's ever been done.
Audited any functions.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Since
How?
2014.
Okay, it's been 2 years since it's been in.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that's, you know, I don't want to sit there and defend why we haven't been over there since 2014, but there's been a lot going on in our office since then.
I respect that. I hold
Yeah.
my comments.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I have
Alan?
some questions as well.
But we have not gone over there, Commissioner, and done a formal audit of those transactions. To look at all I've got is a check
I
register.
understand that.
Right.
Has the sheriff's property room been audited by your office?
No, I don't do we don't audit the property.
You don't audit the
I've
property?
been advised not to do it. Okay.
And it's true that the sheriff requested this audit after Mr. Klecka
Yes.
made the issue. Is
Yes.
that correct?
That's correct.
I feel this is purely retaliation.
Some counties audit weapons, but they can't tell you why. Ask them that. Why are y'all doing that? It's always been done that way. So, you know, it comes down to my judgment, and I think I've read where I don't have a clue about these ones. Well, I actually do have a clue. I've chosen, since I've been here to 2011, to not audit the weapons. Because of materiality issues. I know that I'm going to get zinged for that because I know weapons are very sensitive to the public.
Do the taxpayers own these weapons?
The taxpayers own the ones that are purchased through the budget.
And they should be accounted for then by someone.
That's correct. But you can say that about every asset. I mean, road and bridge. I mean, John, if you think we can audit everything that's tool or every piece of equipment.
And Alan, my question to you is, this is a question, would you maybe need outside help with people who know the weapons?
Well, I would, you know, to be honest with you, I'd like to give it a try, but yeah, I mean, Mike and I, if they laid a bunch of guns out there, it would be difficult for me.
Yeah, this
Like I
is
said, I'd
serious business.
have to have sheriff's help or somebody's help.
Are you willing, if we request, are you willing to do an audit of firearms?
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I reevaluate stuff all the time. I'm not objecting.
Okay.
I just wish that okay, and this may hurt some people's feelings. I'm here every day. If people wanted to come to my office and talk about this behind the scenes, instead of going through all this, that would have been a professional, courteous way to do it. Okay? So no, I'm not objecting that we would never go over there and do weapons. The sheriff's asking for that. But
The sheriff is asking after the fact, after Mr. Klecka addressed the question. When I was in the Army as a young officer, if I wanted to get myself a ticket to Leavenworth, and Mr. Barnett, you know this is true, just not account for any weapon assigned to my responsibility.
John, you know what we audit on a yearly basis? Now, if you want to rip me up about the guns, go for it.
I am not ripping you up about the guns. I'm not even accusing you of it. I'm just saying this needs to be done by some responsible authority. Now, if it's not you, someone else. I'm not attacking you personally, Alan.
We need accountability and transparency.
Alan, could you take a second, and I think this is important for the discussion, as to, and describe how your office, who basically hires you, and who has the authority over your office.
Yeah, I'd like to talk.
I understand. No, but I think people need to understand that, because the independence of your office is important.
It's very important.
Because, and I think it's established for a specific reason. And I'm not saying that this is the case here, but otherwise, if we could control, if we can direct you politically, we could say, we could tell the auditor, you need to go after certain people.
That's correct.
So that's why you're hired and
Hired by the district judge
and overseen
appointed
by
the district judge. You know, the commissioner's court really doesn't have a say in any of our routine office stuff. I understand. I mean, I hear everybody talking about the guns too. Okay, so I know how sensitive this issue is, and we're aware of that, and we want to address it too the best way we can.
But you're saying it's not your responsibility.
No, I said I've made a decision to carry on the fact. I mean, no one's ever audited the guns that I'm aware of. I can't find any evidence. We're responsible. You know, we don't have a purchasing agent, so by default, my office, I would say, on top of everything else we do, my name's on the door, that all assets should be safeguarded and accounted for. But I'm just telling you, it's almost an impossible thing to...
Okay, maybe it's not your responsibility.
I didn't say it wasn't my responsibility. I'm saying that you could read that into the statutes, that if we're responsible for safeguarding the assets of the county, you could extend that to weapons. You could extend that to supplies that Road and Bridge buys or Robert buys or everything else that everyone buys.
Don't you think we ought to know where all of our firearms are at all times?
I don't object to that.
Wouldn't? Okay, so if it's not your responsibility, Judge, whose responsibility would that be?
Well, I think basically what it comes down to is, if we want to audit the firearms,
I believe it's the elected officials are ultimately responsible
right,
for
so,
each of their assets.
If Alan is not, or let's just say Alan says that's not a priority, or I'm not going to do it. Ultimately, it's up to us. We can easily hire an outside auditor and instruct him to audit the firearms in the sheriff's office.
Right.
And
So,
match them to all of the documents pertaining to acquisition and disposition of all firearms. They should all match.
so the question is, Alan, do you want to take this? Do you want to take this task on, or would you prefer that we hire outside?
If it's something that if this is something that we're going to incorporate in future audits, then yes, I want to take it on, because I don't want you guys to have to hire someone every time we want to do a weapons inventory.
Well, maybe an independent auditor the first time around might be the best approach.
But I'm not, like I said, I'm not objecting to that, to make that move, no.
Okay.
I'm in favor of an independent auditor the first time around.
Well, then I guess,
Maybe we could ask for the ATF to give us some assistance on this.
I mean, if that's the inclination, then I guess we need to find out, get some auditors to give us some proposals on what it's going to cost.
There seems to be a reluctance on the part of the auditor, and I can understand that. And I'm not accusing you or judging you.
No, there's
But
no
I
reluctance.
detect that there's some reluctance.
There's
So
no
I would
reluctance.
prefer.
Please don't misconstrue my statements as reluctance. It's just a change in procedure, that's all. And if that's something that the court and if the sheriff's wanting it and the court's want, and I'm not going to be hard-headed and say, but what I wanted with the plan, here's what happens. You go over there, right, and you do your annual audit that we do. When you dig into the detail of that, and then you start seeing a pattern, then you change the direction of your audit, right? I have not been able to go over there and see all the detail. Now, I'm reading what people are putting out there, but that's not me going over there and looking at everything myself in detail and making that determination. So I'm not going to react to what I'm reading in the paper or what people are saying. I don't think that's fair. I wouldn't do that to any elected official. It's up to me to go over there and see the detail and then determine what's going on.
Right.
And I haven't had that opportunity.
You know, I think, for one thing, the sheriff has already indicated that he wants an audit done.
Right.
So having an audit done is no problem. And another thing, I don't think that we should put our auditors in that squeeze plate position because of what is transpiring behind all this. If we could get an independent auditor, that's great. I think that would even be better for the transparency that's been made mention of. I mean, the fact of the matter, the bottom line is the sheriff wants the audit, the commissioner wants the audit. Let's get the independent auditor and do the audit. This is why I suggest just get an independent auditor. I mean, it's just as simple as falling off a log. Get an independent auditor. You have two parties that want the audit done. Get the neutral factor in there, do the audit, so we can move forward.
How do we go about that process if we want to get an independent auditor? Who needs to, what needs to happen?
That's the court's. It's you guys' decision.
Let's put it out there for the
You have
bid.
to,
We have to put
you
it
have
out
to
there
pass
for
a
bid.
resolution, you have to publish it, you have to, there is a procedure to go through.
Let's get it done.
Okay, so you can look at that and come back to us or send an email, because I'm guessing we're going to need to, I don't know what an audit's going to cost.
It should be a minimum of 10 grand.
Wow.
Are we talking about,
Wow.
are you talking about checking the physical custody of the firearms at the sheriff office?
Accounting for the fire.
Every law enforcement agency that the county has control over, all constables and everything. Are you talking about the invoices? Are you talking
All
about
of it.
are you
Well, we don't
talking about-
comprehensive weapons.
I mean, what are we?
Yeah, the constables supply
Yeah,
their,
we don't buy
the reserves supply their own fire.
I think it should be only those weapons that the county's tax money has purchased.
Not
If we can
So does
identify
that
those weapons.
not include weapons purchased with forfeiture funds and with the narcotics program fund, because that was not taxpayer money? So I mean,
I think-
you have to get really specific about which ones you're talking about.
Well, the forfeiture funds have to be audited,
Right,
correct?
those are already audited. Yeah.
And if you use that money, if it's audited and use that money to purchase guns, then what? There's an inventory? I mean, we do maintain inventories, do we not?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
But nobody ever.
We tag those guns, but I've never physically gone over there to match. It's like the radios. We've never physically tried to match radios with an officer. We've never gone over there and lined everybody up and said, okay, show me your gun and let's look at what's on the list. Do you have this weapon? That's never happened.
Alan, I can appreciate your dissertation on auditing procedures.
And I know this is sensitive, and I'm not.
We're talking about firearms.
I understand that.
Firearms.
I know.
Firearms kill people. Firearms need to be accounted for.
Right.
And we need to know whose hands they're in. And if they're not in the hands that they're in, we need to know where they are. We need to know this. Now, whether the auditor can do this, whether that's your job or not, I don't know. But the answers to those questions need to be known. How many firearms do we have? Whose hands are they in? And if they're not in the hands they're supposed to be in, where are they?
So here's my thinking, and I'll just throw this out there. Y'all, we can talk about it. My thinking is, because obviously we have a motion and a second, and part of that motion is directing the county auditor to do something, which I don't believe legally we can do.
We can amend that, Judge.
We also have an audit to include a property room, which, if I hear our district attorney correctly, there's, depending on what your definition of property room is, there's problems with that in terms of whether we legally can or cannot do. I think we all, I don't think anybody has a problem with auditing the firearms. I think even the auditor said he's willing to do that.
Yes. In fact, when we, if we need to schedule a time. We usually wait. If you look back, it's always March and April because of just the way our schedule is during the year. We've got an annual report that's due in April, so we try to get some of these audits done before that and before the external auditor comes. So that's why it hasn't been done already. But in that routine audit that we would go do over there, if that would have led to a more detailed audit of those weapons, that's what it was going to lead to. But I haven't had a chance to go over there and see that yet.
I kind of want to have an idea of what that's going to cost, because our auditor right now is expressing the fact that he's willing to do it, but I want to know what the cost is going to be if we go independent, because I have to balance that with the fact that you can do it and get it done on the dime we're paying.
I don't know a lot about weapons.
How can I help you? Well, no, I know a lot about weapons.
It doesn't matter how much you know. About weapons, you're matching serial numbers out. There should be a log, and if you can, on a gun, it's got a serial number. And obviously, when they bought that, it had to be recorded. So you don't need to know if that's a Class 3 weapon or if it's a concealed weapon or what it is. You don't have to know what it fires. As long as you can match the two numbers up, that's all that needs to be done. Any type of suppressor, it has a specific serial number for that suppressor. So you don't have to be a firearms expert to go match numbers up.
Be able to match paper to physical presence.
Correct, and it doesn't take
paper to physical. Where was this act? How was this acquired? When was it acquired? How was it acquired? Where is it now? In whose possession is it now?
So
I know all that.
So $100,000 question. Do we want an independent auditor? In which case we should table this and we need to go through that process. Or are we okay with Alan requesting that Alan perform the audit of the firearms? Somebody's got to say something. Y'all got to express yourselves.
With an outside auditor, but I think spending $10,000 or $15,000, whatever, would come back to find.
It costs you 40 or 50 by the time you move.
To find that there's nothing wrong.
Exactly.
That's gonna hurt.
Exactly.
And so if Alan goes in there and finds reason to need to bring in outside help, then I think at that point you look at outside.
If you see reasons, if you see things missing,
I go with that.
Then
they'll go with that. I mean, that way, if we need to go spend the money, we spend the money. But I don't see going and spending it just to spend it.
And you're already planning an audit of the office as
yes,
it is.
We have not, but I'm just going to go on record. We have not spoken. I haven't spoken with the sheriff since the email last week, and I have not, and my staff has not scheduled anything with him yet to get over there. Okay, so we need to do that. But it would be now, with all this other stuff that's coming up, it might be the 1st of April before we.
Okay, so maybe why don't we amend this to say that in addition to your normal audit that you will be performing.
Yeah, I don't even think you need I don't know, do they even need an agenda item?
I'm just wondering if we should reword it so that it's a request.
You can reword it as a request. Yeah, it depends on, I don't know what his plan already was in general, and he's already had a request from the sheriff to do it anyway.
Okay.
And says he'll do it. So you can amend it as a request.
And then strike property.
Because everybody, the sheriff's agreed. I mean, if you're willing, then I'll move to amend to request, the Commissioner's Court to request that Auditor Alan Younts, in addition to his normal audits of the Sheriff's Office, that he is going to be performing in the coming months.
Second.
That he also conduct an audit of all of the weapons that are bought or maintained by the Waller County Sheriff's Office.
Second. Again.
And reconcile acquisition and disposition of all weapons and paperwork.
I assume that would be part of that.
Well, we want a comprehensive. Every piece of paper that has a serial number on it, we need to know who, what, where, when, and how.
Unless it's
I will
just
amend
an
it to say that,
inventory, right?
to make it a
Any
thorough,
evidence in there.
quote unquote, a thorough audit. Okay, with reconciliation. So, all right, motion and second. Any other discussion on that? Okay, on the amendment, all in favor of the amendment, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay. Any discussion on 12 as amended? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of 12 as amended, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay, thank you.
It's not a day that goes by since December when the guns were stolen. It's not a gun, just guns, it's an arsenal of them. And machine gun. I was sitting in that building with about 100 other people. And not a day goes by, I don't think that they could have taken that machine gun and walked in the salt grass and just put us all in and kill us all. That could happen. So I would say this is pretty urgent. Let's go find out what's going on.
I think Alan's getting this. And
I've had the message all along, and I don't take this lightly at all. I don't think I do. I invite anybody, and my office is an open door office. I invite anybody to come in and watch what we do on a daily basis with the staff that I've got. There's no excuses. I'm not making excuses. I realize what my job is. And what
Are you the auditor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm sorry, I came in late.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And so, when we try to, when it was asked of us to do the gun audit, and I agreed to do it, I let everybody know that wanted to know what had to be done statutorily before we could get to that, since it wasn't on our radar for this year. We have a lot of things that by statute we have to get completed and that we have to participate in. And we're nearing that completion when the Commissioners Court adopt the budget next month. We will be finished. If there's a slow time in our office, which is a joke, but if there is, it's after they adopt the budget next month. Between that and then if I don't get it done, I can understand. But Mike and I are here late a lot. We're here every day, and we're trying our best to meet those goals. And I understand the urgency, but it's not like we're just sitting around. And I promise you that that's not happening in our office.
Some of this could have been averted because when this first came up, you remember, I suggested that we pay an outside auditor, hire an outside auditor.
I agree. Yeah.
And I thought that would be the best way to handle that.
I don't disagree.
But for whatever reason, I was overruled again because we couldn't afford it. The excuse was we couldn't afford.
That wasn't my excuse.
No. But the excuse was we couldn't afford an outside auditor. Money. All right. Now we're having a discussion about money right now on this issue. What is priority? Well, to my constituents, that audit is very, very important. And they would like it done before the election season is over.
Well, and I'm understanding that. I will tell you, because of the schedule that I've had and because I don't participate in the county process, because I shouldn't, I'm not supposed to.
I know.
I did not understand the urgency that apparently some of the electorate places this. I saw it as a mission to be accomplished, but I did not understand the public's priority. I assure you that Alan now understands, and I do too.
If you go back and look at the Commissioners' Court sessions on videotape where this issue was debated and talked, you'll find out how hot an issue it was.
Well, I think whenever all of that was coming about, I was in Bastrop County doing a murder trial.
Yeah, I don't know, you don't have time to watch videotapes, but if you view those videotapes, this was, to some people, I'm convinced they want to just push it aside. They don't want to do this anyway. And I'm not saying it's the auditor.
No, I don't think he cares. He just needs to get the time to do it.
Right.